When you use an insulin pump and you're troubled by your child being sick with an illness or a cold or a flu, you may fear, how are you going to manage that sick day? I can say to you that with some of the tools that and tips that we share, you just continue to check your glucose frequently, and with the pump you can make small corrections with insulin in the sugars and feel safer. You continue to offer fluids and check the glucose and check the ketones as you would normally, but the pump does offer you some temporary control that you didn't have before with shots. When you put a shot on board with a child that was vomiting before pump, you feared hypoglycemia if they vomited after the injection. With the pump, you temporarily can stop insulin, you can temporarily increase it, you can temporarily decrease it, and we make sure that you understand what that means during pump training. It may sound technical, but it actually is much easier and gives families more peace of mind.
From a nutrition standpoint, it's really very similar. We would have the same guidelines. Make sure that you're staying hydrated by drinking fluid every hour. A cup of fluid is great, and to give that 10 to 15 grams of carb every hour. If you can't eat, we would perhaps drink some fluid every hour in the form of juice or diluted juice.
The more serious issues are the issues of the risk of diabetic ketoacidosis, which is a serious illness where the blood sugars go up and the body starts to burn fat for energy, which makes ketones, and that causes people to become dehydrated and very ill, and you may have to come to hospital for insulin through an IV to manage that.
It's a lot easier to manage their sugar levels when they're sick with the pump. We did have one experience on injections where he was sick with the stomach flu, and we were rushing to the hospital because his sugars were dropping so low. We had to give him an emergency medicine that's called glucagon to try to boost his sugars up to get him from going into a coma. So it was pretty scary. So we haven't had to encounter that yet on the pump. But from what I've heard from other parents, it is a lot easier with the pump to control that.
When you're on an insulin pump, it does make sick day management easier because you are dealing with insulin in real time. You can suspend, you can decrease, you can increase your insulin. You're using only rapid-acting insulin, and that allows you to respond to the blood sugars and deliver insulin accordingly.
Well, depending how my sugars are, if they're high, I'll most likely would change my basal for that day, so it will keep my sugars balanced. And if I'm eating or if I'm not, I'll just put in the amount or take out the amount.
I guess to echo Megan's answer, the pump does give you the flexibility to alter her basal rate, which is her constant rate of insulin that's being delivered, and depending on how much she's eating or not eating, we could change the bolus accordingly. I think on a sick day, whether someone is on pump therapy or just the regular injections, you check their sugars more frequently. You want to check their urine for ketones. So there are some, things that you would do whether they're on pump therapy or not on any given sick day. Yeah, and it's just extra monitoring. It's certainly more significant when a child with diabetes has a 24-hour stomach flu than for a child without diabetes, just because of the fluctuations in their sugars and the risk of them going very low or very high.